The coronavirus epidemic has now become a global health emergency. What started in China's Wuhan has now spread to over 80 countries. For 2 months, WION has been reporting endlessly about the risk that this virus poses to the world. We have been separating facts from fiction and repeatedly highlighted why the fear is not unfounded. We have been reporting from day one on this epidemic. Let's start with the updates from India now. With a new confirmed case, the total number of infected people in the country has gone up to 31. Fear is palpable, especially when one takes into consideration India's population and the fact that this figure has increased from 6 to 31 in just a week's time. Let's break it down for you now. The tally includes 3 patients from Kerala who have been discharged but are being monitored, which means the active cases now stand at 28. There are 10 cases of the coronavirus in Delhi and NCR. 6 of them are family members of the same patient who have now been shifted to Delhi from Agra. There is 1 case in Telangana. There are 16 Italians who have caught the infection. They were visiting India as part of a tourist group. 1 Indian driver who was traveling along with this group has also caught the infection. Can India restrict the cases to these numbers? It's difficult to say at this point, but the centre has gone full throttle in its efforts. The Indian Health Ministry has released a public health advisory, which is now on your screens. They have urged people to avoid mass gatherings to control the spread of the disease. This is primarily aimed at the festival of Holi. Most mass celebrations are now being called off. In addition, the Union Health Minister has said that the government is preparing an exhaustive containment plan for the city of Agra. Screening for all international passengers arriving in India has been made mandatory. Screening of passengers is happening for the first time at all major seaports. Screening has also been tightened at all checkposts in states bordering other nations. Remember, until now, only government labs had the approval to test clinical samples of the coronavirus. 15 of them are operational. 19 more government labs are being prepared to test samples. The government has also identified 35 private labs across the country. They plan to expand this to 100 in the coming days. Back in New Delhi specifically, the authorities have ordered the immediate closure of all primary schools. They will stay shut till the end of this month. Schools have also been asked to withhold biometric attendance for staff until further orders. Meanwhile, the Indian government has also postponed a planned summit with the European Union. Prime Minister Modi was due to travel to Brussels later this month. The visit has been called off for now. Apart from this, the External Affairs Ministry is also making arrangements for the return of the stranded Indians from the virus-hit countries, especially Iran.
Arrangements are being made to facilitate the return of stranded Indians from areas of concern through normal civil aviation channels. We need good cooperation from the Iranian authorities so that an appropriate screening process can be set up before the Indian nationals can be facilitated to take those flights back home.
Coming now to the global scenario, over 3,000 people have lost their lives across the world and the number of cases now touching 100,000. In China, authorities claim that no new cases have been reported in Hubei in the last 24 hours. Remember, that province was the epicenter of the outbreak to begin with. But this excludes the epicenter Wuhan, which confirmed 126 new cases on Thursday. Not far away in South Korea, the number of infections standing at 6,284, and there have been 42 deaths. Mask factories in the country are churning out 300,000 masks a day, but they say it's still not enough to meet the rising demand. The country's central bank is quarantining bank notes now for 2 weeks to remove any traces of the infection. And around 90 countries have restricted the entry of anyone coming in from South Korea. Iran has also been scrambling to contain the rapid spread of the disease. Over 3,513 have been infected and there have been 107 deaths. This includes an advisor to Iran's foreign minister, Hossein Sheikhul Islam, who lost his life on Thursday. 6 other government officials have also succumbed to the disease. Given the situation in Iran, the threat of a South Asia spread now is looming large. The number of cases in Pakistan has risen to 6, and today Bhutan became the latest country in Asia to record the first case of the coronavirus. The patient is a 76-year-old man from the United States who traveled to Bhutan via the Indian city of Guwahati. More and more countries are falling prey to the disease. South Africa also reported its first case. According to the country's health ministry, the patient is a 38-year-old man who recently traveled to Italy. And speaking of Italy, it has become the worst victim of the disease over the last few weeks in Europe. The number of cases topping 3,000. There have been 148 deaths. The virus has also breached the walls of the Vatican. An employee at the Vatican's Health Services Department has tested positive for the disease. The UK and Switzerland have recorded their first deaths as well. There are 116 confirmed cases of the virus in the UK. Prime Minister Boris Johnson is saying that the country is still in virus containment phase. All said and done, the Director General of the World Health Organization has urged all the governments across the world to demonstrate commitment that matches the threat before us. I will conclude with his statement, but our updates will continue.
We are concerned that some countries have either not taken this seriously enough or have decided there is nothing they can do. We are concerned that in some countries the level of political commitment and the actions that demonstrate that commitment do not match the level of the threat we all face. This is not a drill. This is not the time to give up. This is not a time for excuses. This is a time for pulling out all the stops.